Welcome to the reading of Turning 25 on my 52nd birthday. This is a story of my life right after my divorce as I grew into a new woman. Please comment any questions on the video below. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. And thank you so much. Please like and subscribe also. Thanks. Chapter 33. Veronica was now on her way to Orlando. She was looking forward to this trip. She still felt she needed some rest, but work was work. She needed to get on with her life. She was actually talking to a man about her book. They were discussing what to call it. He gave her a good idea. Maybe it should be called Turning 25 on your 52nd birthday. She really kind of liked that. The two numbers are switched, making the same number. She was 25 when she had her daughter, when really she would have been out exploring men. It was a good flight, and he made it interesting, and he seemed truly interested in hearing about her book. Men weren't very interested in books or videos. Women always seemed to want to back each other up, but this man was good about it. She arrived in Orlando and got to work pretty quickly. As usual, the first day was short, losing the 2 hours on the flight as a killer. When she was done, she checked into her hotel and got dressed in some workout clothes and went to the gym. She couldn't do a whole lot because of her surgery and it wasn't that long ago, but it was good to stay in the habit. She had a glass of wine in her room and went to bed early. It was a good day. The next day, she made it into the office bright and early. She started working with some of the employees right away. She really felt good on this trip. She wasn't texting Rick much, and that was fine. It was just kind of a nice trip. She was going to send him some pictures of her lingerie that she was buying for her photos. She wanted to get enough choices to make sure that something would look great. She was so excited about these photos, she could hardly think of anything else. Veronica took the office manager to lunch. They always had such a nice time. This time they did a tarot card reading. Veronica thought she would give it a shot. Normally she didn't read for anybody, so they began and the reading went really well. Her boyfriend was having addiction problems, and once they did the reading, she felt better. Not great, but better. Sometimes reading the cards point things out, but they can also give you a plan of action. The remainder of the day was pretty uneventful, just training and Q&A. Good day, but nothing to brag about. That evening, she went down to the restaurant in the hotel. She had her laptop and went to the patio, ordered herself a beer and a small dinner. She was working on her book, but not super intently. She was wearing a cute dress, nothing revealing, it was just cute. And there was a man sitting a couple tables away. He had long hair and looked kind of like a hippie, and he probably was back in the day. He got on the phone, walked around, and then when he got off the phone, he went back to his table and shook his head. The other gentleman sitting close to that table was talking politics really loudly, and he really didn't even appear to know what he was talking about. Veronica was getting irritated listening to him also, and he was just a few tables away. This gentleman, the hippie, asked Veronica if he could sit at her table, and she said of course. They began talking and drinking. He admired her tattoos, and they shared tattoo stories. He was the president of operations of some union. It was a big union. The three of his fellow employees joined them. They were drinking and having good conversation. It did come up somehow that Veronica had some self-confidence issues. They all discussed her weight loss. One of the men, who was actually married, said, "You are attractive even before you lost weight." She showed him some of the pictures. He explained to her that not only was she attractive and appealing, but her self-confidence that was showing and her intelligence made her much more intriguing. All three of the men said that it was hard to believe that she didn't have self-confidence, because they felt like her just being able to have beers with three very strong men who were very high up in the union showed confidence. They were all very encouraging. Then, of course, after a couple out beers and conversation took a little turn, and this is when someone had asked if she had a boob job. The new boobs were now the topic of conversation. She explained to them that she really didn't want to have the boobs lifted, that her only point in having the boob job was to fill up the extra skin area. There was a gentleman at a table across the way, and he said, "I couldn't help but overhear and discuss your implants. And I agree that you did the right thing by not making them lifted. They will look much more real in this way." After a few more words, this man came over and joined the table and the discussion. After a couple more beers, Veronica was getting a little loaded and started drinking water. This new man that joined the table was attractive and intelligent. Veronica really started paying attention to him. She found out that he wrote a book and had published it. The book was about his life. She was thrilled about that. The other men left and actually paid the tab. It was crazy. Veronica's tab was not cheap. That was really nice of them. They didn't say they were going, they just did. This other man and her talked a while. He scooted closer and started rubbing her leg. He was super intrigued by her, and it wasn't fake. He really was, she could tell. He kept saying that, where were you a few years ago? They got to her room, and he literally threw her down on the bed and lifted up her dress, just started licking on her. He didn't even remove her panties. He wasn't wasting any time. They had some pretty good sex. It was the best sex so far for Veronica. When they were done, he immediately got dressed. I'm going to say the best sex other than Rick. He was good. Immediately got dressed. He did not go use a restroom or nothing. He just got dressed and started to walk out. Veronica stopped him and asked him why. It was weird. Then under her breath, she said, "You're married, aren't you?" And he said yes. She told him that he needed to just relax for a minute. He didn't need to run out of the room. He sat down on the chair and Veronica laid on the bed. And he said he couldn't get over how sexy she was and he could not believe that she was not confident in that way. They talked for a few minutes and then he left. She couldn't believe it. She finally met someone who she enjoyed in bed. And he was not only married, he lived in Florida. Her luck. Damn her luck. He was also intelligent. There had to be more out there that weren't married, or maybe she just needed to have an open relationship. It was very encouraging for her to finally have a good sexual experience. She's not having any good luck, and this one finally was. She would find one, right? That experience was pretty good. It was kind of nice having that change, and it did kind of open up her thoughts as to, maybe there is a man out there that can give me what I need, intelligence and, really some good sex. And it was really helpful for her to hear from all these men. They said, God, you're keeping up drinking with us. You're intelligent. How do you not have confidence? They all, said you look so confident. And, I need to make that a topic somewhere because everyone tells me how confident I look. And sometimes I don't feel as confident as I look, but I guess I'd rather show it. So, I don't know. It was a great trip. It was fun sex. The other guys that were there beforehand were very nice and comforting, and we had some really good talks, and it felt really good. So, that was a good chapter. And cheers.